Welcome to Surfing Oz's tutorial on multiple textures in SketchUp. First off, we'll just do the same as all the other tutorials and make sure that we're set onto meters. To do this, go to Window, then Model Info. The new window will appear. Make sure you have units selected on the left, then go over to Format and select Decimal, and then on the next right hand column go to Meters. Adjust length snapping to 0.1 of a meter, and now you can close this window. Then we will go to Plugins, RCT3, Placement, and we'll select Full Tile. As in this tutorial, I'm just going to make a basic cube again. As you remember, these boundaries are 4 meters by 4 meters, so I'll snap to the edges and create a 4 meter by 4 meter square. I don't need that boundary anymore, so I can delete that. I'll now extrude this to make the cube 4 meters high as well. I have the 4 meter cube. Now we're going to add multiple textures and group them together. To do this, I'll just use 2 different textures that I have. 2 different metals, just make sure they're selected as a texture again. I'll open, I'll just add them to one face. You'll notice that that texture didn't fit perfectly because I haven't resized it, but that's not important for this. I'll import my second texture. I now have 2 different textures. I'll just use the paint bucket now and the eyedropper to make copies of these textures. I now have 2 textures throughout this whole object. Now to group these textures, you must select the individual textures as a group. To do this, hold Shift and select textures of the same type. You'll notice that they will appear tinted blue. Now, right click on one of these faces and go to Make Group. You have now grouped them textures together. You must repeat the same thing for all other existing textures in your object. As you can see, I've just selected the 3 other faces of the other metal. I'll right click and go Make Group. Now, just as in the other tutorial, with a single texture you must set the model entity. So go to Entity Info. Now, once you have this open, you can select your texture. In this case it is my Metal 3. I'll go OK, and I will just name it Metal. I can close this window and select my other textures, right click them and go Entity Info, and I'll call this Metal 1. Go down and select that metal. So I've named both groups of textures now and they've grouped. Now the only thing I haven't done is set them to separate layers, which I need to do. So to do this, go to View, then Toolbars, and select Layers. A new toolbar will appear, and I'll just click this button here, and as I've got 2 textures, I want 2 layers other than layer 0. So I must add 1 more layer. In this tutorial I won't bother to rename them, but generally you're best to. The colours on the right are not actually your texture, they're just used to show what layers are what. I'll show you that later. Okay, I can now cross out of this window. I'll do this metal texture as layer 1, so I select that group, go to the layer toolbar and select layer 1. I'll do the same for the other texture, except that will be layer 2. Now every time I select these layers, you'll notice that it changes to what layer it is in the top left hand. Now if I select this button here again, remember how I said about the different colours not actually being the texture? If I click this button at the top right and go colour by layer, that just shows the different layers. And I'll remove that now. It doesn't actually affect the model in any way. Now you have grouped your textures and added layers, you can simply highlight your object and export by going Plugins, ASE Exporter, Export. Leave both of these set to yes. Go to OK. I'll just save mine to my desktop and call it Cube Multi Texture just for this example. I'll save it. As usual, it comes up with the different faces. You'll notice that it lists both of the meshes, which are the textures, and it says how many faces they are on each. I can now click OK, and I've successfully saved my object with multiple textures. That's the end of this tutorial. Good luck with your future custom scenery making. Thank you.